Today, guys, we're gonna talk about one of the more common questions I get pretty often is it possible to build muscle and drop body fat at the same time? This is the most common question I probably get on a daily basis from anybody who's already in the industry or anybody just looking to get into better shape. You know, men want to get bigger while again getting leaner at the same time. Women, they want to get toned while, building muscle. And again, the question that everybody always wants to know, is it possible? So is it possible, guys, like I said, to build muscle and drop body fat at the same time? Absolutely, yes. It is not impossible. It is just, again, one of the more difficult things you're going to come across when you are trying to get into the training and dieting aspect when it comes to doing the two complete opposite things, right? So if you're just building or just cutting, much easier. But when you're trying to do both at the same time, very difficult, but very possible. However, do I usually recommend for one to try to build muscle while dropping body fat at the same time? Absolutely, I do not actually. And the reason being is because for one, it is very hard for me to explain that process, but I'm gonna go ahead and do my absolute best, so stick with me on this one, guys. Like I said, guys, I'm going to explain to you why it's not the best idea to try to build muscle and drop body fat at the same time. So the way you actually build muscle, guys, in general, is you break down your muscle in the gym, and then they're eventually, yes, gonna grow back bigger and stronger. And the way you do that is through rest and through dieting correctly. I'm sure you've heard me say this before, guys. You are actually not growing in the gym. You're like, wait, what? No, yes, you are not growing in the gym. That is actually you breaking down your muscles. So you actually grow when you are outside of the gym, when you are recovering and feeding yourself, and that is how the muscles will grow in time. So you put in the hard work at the gym, guys. You go home and yes, you eat, or eat, as they say. And that's actually when you guys are growing, okay? When you're at home resting while eating, and that's how the muscles are gonna replenish and grow. So again, when you guys are in the gym or before you start your workout, remember, your glycogen storages are full, meaning your carbohydrates that you guys have been eating. So your tanks are full, your probably body looks fuller, more filled out at that particular time, and you look probably bigger and harder. But as you guys train, you are slowly depleting those glycogen levels, and eventually you want to replenish them. And that is actually how you guys grow. Before you start a workout, your muscles are filled with glycogen, guys, and then they look full, they look big, they probably look a little hard at this particular point. At the gym, let's use biceps for example, guys. So you're training biceps, you do rep after rep, set after set, and you're gonna train until your muscles are completely broken down, torn apart, and you've essentially depleted all your glycogen storages. So at the end of your guys' workout, your muscles are completely torn apart, broken down, empty, and essentially ready to absorb anything you guys continue to eat right after that. Why? Because our muscles do not like to be in a broken down state, and they will continue to rebuild and recover, but they need nutrition and rest to do so. As you guys may know, our body self-heals. Anytime we have an injury, we have a cut, whatever is going on with our body, it will find a way to heal itself. When we break them down in the gym, guys, our body does not want the muscles, as I've said earlier, to be broken down. So what's it gonna do? It's gonna do everything in its power to essentially repair them and build them back bigger and stronger. So if you guys want to eat directly after the gym, what I would suggest is having your protein source along with no carbs post-workout. I know, let me explain. The reason we have no carbs at the end of our workout, guys, you gotta remember, your growth hormone levels are at its absolute peak post-workout. And once we consume carbs, you gotta remember, the body will spike our body's insulin levels. So what happens when insulin is released into the body, guys? Naturally, it's gonna wanna shut down the growth hormone production. So again, guys, I personally only like to consume protein immediately after my workout for this particular reason only. Again, a lot of people believe that insulin is actually more anabolic than growth hormone, which again, guys, is a fair argument. And again, the way I see it, why not have the best of both worlds? And let me teach you what I mean by that. If you guys have your protein source immediately after your workout, yes, it could be a shake if you want, or again, like let's say chicken breast, but just for an example, yes, if you guys are having a protein source immediately after your workout, remember, it's gonna get essentially sucked right into the muscle when your growth, or when your body's growth hormone is at its absolute peak, and that's gonna happen for essentially the first 30 minutes directly after the workout, guys. And then after that first 30-minute window, guys, to maybe about even an hour, I would then consume my actual bigger meal, which is going to be consisting of, again, another lean protein source, could be a shake or could be an actual food source, and then adding on your high GI carbs at this point, so that again, that as well can get shuttled into the muscles as they're still broken down at this point. Now guys, don't get me wrong, does this mean you can never have post-workout carbs immediately after? Absolutely not. Again, there is the argument, like I said, is insulin more important or is growth hormone more important? They're both very important to the human body and how it functions. But again, this is just my philosophy on it. So again, I just prefer to have a lean protein source without the carbs immediately right after, rather than waiting, like I said, that 30 minutes to an hour post. That's when I'll incorporate my carbs. But again, this is just my philosophy, guys. After our workout, guys, our muscles are completely broken down. We're empty. Our glycogen levels are down near to zero. Of course, if you're training hard, because again, it's not always going to be the case. But yes, we're trying to deplete as much as we can. So what's our body want to do first thing after the workout? Yes, it wants to recover. It wants to replenish. So again, the first thing you guys consume is what it's going to be using to recover and replenish the muscles, and to help them grow back bigger and stronger. The way you actually build muscle, guys, is once they are completely broken down, you are going to eat, like I've already been telling you guys. And then this food that you are consuming is gonna get sucked right into the muscle that's broken down, and it's gonna build back, yes, bigger and stronger, like I've been continuing to tell you guys. Combine that, guys, with adequate amounts of food and proper amounts of sleep, or rest for that matter. It doesn't have to necessarily be sleep, but yes, sleep is rest. We already all know that. If you don't, get out. I'm just kidding. But no, for real, guys. So then after about 3 to 6 days, you guys are gonna have your muscles typically fully recovered now that you've properly fed yourself, properly recovered, and then you go back in the gym and do it all over again. Now, this brings me to my next topic, guys, and that is how to build muscle while minimizing the body fat. So what I want you guys to be able to do is kind of visualize your muscles as a big water jug, okay? You're like, wait, what? Just trust me here, okay? So metaphorically speaking, you guys are gonna visualize what is happening inside your muscles by thinking of a water jug fully filled up. So before your guys' workout, your water jug is essentially full to the brim. Okay, so for a better visual, here's your water jug. And okay, well, so maybe it's not full to the brim, but you guys get the idea. We want this full to the brim, okay? And that's essentially your muscles filled up with glycogen. So before I was rudely interrupted by someone tossing a water bottle at me. No, but for real, guys, so that water jug is essentially, like I told you guys, representing your muscles, and that is the glycogen with the water filled to the brim stored before you guys start your workout. So as you guys continue to train, rep after rep, set after set, your glycogen storages are continuing to be emptied as the workout continues. So again, guys, the harder you train, the longer you train, essentially, and I'm assuming, yes, it was a killer workout, or better yet, a wicked workout, you guys were able to deplete essentially all the glycogen within the muscle. So therefore, you are completely empty now in your water jug, representing, yes, the glycogen in your guys' muscle. Now in this case, guys, I'm gonna use food as my example for water, which is essentially going to be refilling the jug back up. So after your workout, you guys eat, the jug will be a little bit more full. And then a few meals later, you guys are going to eat again, and then the jug will be that much more full. And so on until the jug is eventually, yes, fully replenished. So let's fast forward, guys, essentially to your last meal of the day. Like I said, we want to fully replenish it. Let's just say last meal of the day, you continue to fill up your jug, and once it is completely full, that is essentially how you maximize your muscle gains. You fully deplete your muscles, guys, in your workouts, in the gym. You break them down as much as possible, as much as you can, and the harder you train, the longer you train, the more you break them down, which essentially in return means the more food you get to eat to replenish and grow those muscles. Then you guys are gonna eat once again till all the glycogen within the muscle has been fully restored or replenished. Repeat this, yes, for weeks to months, and I promise you guys, yes, some serious progress when it comes to building muscle will be made. However, guys, on the flip side, however, if you guys are eating like this, and let's just say on your second to last meal of the day, let's say your jug is actually full, but then you continue to eat, your second to last meal and then your last meal, what do you think you guys are doing? Yes, there's no more water to be held inside the jug. So essentially, what are you doing? You are spilling over, yes. So essentially, too much food for this particular time, which, what does that mean? It means you're, yes, putting on body fat, guys. Spilling over is actually the correct terminology, guys. And like I said, this is how, yes, you will put on body fat if you guys are constantly spilling over, eating too much. After your workout, you guys eat, but eventually, yes, it will get to a point where your muscles can no longer absorb the food anymore, guys. So what that means is, yes, you completely filled back up your guys' storages, and the food you're eating or consuming now is essentially just converting over into fat. Unfortunately for us, guys, we cannot see inside of our actual muscles. I mean, if y'all can, let me know. I want whatever the hell y'all got, but I ain't got that. So again, we cannot see inside of our muscles. We do not know how much food our muscles can absorb after a workout. So essentially, yes, we don't actually know when we're spilling over, guys. One of the most common problems people have when trying to build muscle is that building muscle comes with, yes, gaining body fat. And that's for the exact reason I just explained, guys. You don't know when you're spilling over, so people think weight goes up, it's all muscle. Not typically the case. However, once again, there is a way around this, guys, and it does make perfect sense logically, and I'm gonna tell you why. Even though, like I said, unless y'all have x-ray vision, which I don't, but if you don't, like myself, we don't know what's going on with our body, inside of our body, guys, and to play it smart and kind of use common sense, and having just essentially a good understanding of what is going on inside your body. After watching this video, guys, I want you to actually go over to my other video. Make sure you guys take a look at it. It's how to build muscle through dieting correctly. Why? Well, because yes, it's actually going to take you guys through the process of on how to build muscle while minimizing fat gain at the same time, which is what we all want, right? Now, I don't know the actual correct statistics, guys, to what I'm about to say, but I will tell you that, I'm going off of what I believe to be correct, because each one of us is going to be completely different. That being said, I do believe if you guys get your diet and your training spot on, you can put anywhere, guys, from about 300 to 700 grams and maybe even upwards to 800 grams. Wait, you're like, wait, grams? How about pounds? Okay, so like I was telling you guys, for those of you who are my math nerds out there, yes, you're gonna be putting on roughly 0.67 pounds to about 1.5 pounds when I was referring to the 300 to about 700 grams. And when you're on the upward range of about 800 grams, we're about 1.75 pounds, so 0.75. So again, guys, that's for the math nerds out there that were probably like, what do you mean grams? But that's for my Australians and people outside the US, because they typically will always be using grams as their form of measurement. So with that being said, guys, hearing those numbers, this is essentially, if you guys are doing this to the T and just nailing it, when you guys are just being very precise on everything we're doing, we can put on this amount of mass of lean muscle in a matter of 1 week. Now this is, again, perfecting the process though. So to sum that up, guys, you have anywhere from 300 to 800 grams, or 0.67 to about 1.75 pounds of lean muscle we can put on in an entire week, guys, without putting on any body fat. So that's just pure muscle right there. But that's, again, that's a realistic number. So again, you hear people putting on more weight, that probably means they're usually putting on some added fat with that muscle. Now, instead of being actually able to see inside your guys' body once again, this is where the scale can kind of come into play and help us out here to kind of break down this, these numbers that we're talking about, to help us aid whether we're putting on muscle or fat in the process of just trying to build pure muscle. Once you guys are able to get your body weight to kind of stabilize at a certain amount of food, essentially that might mean anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks. You allow your body weight to essentially stay the same. It's not going up, not going down. It essentially means that's our BMR, that's our base metabolic rate, and it's going to allow us to know that, man, that's what we need to be eating to stay the same exact weight. Correct? You are training hard, like I said. You are breaking down your guys' muscle. You are eating the same amount of food daily, but again, your weight is not changing, it is staying the same. So now that we have found a place where your body weight or your weight essentially, yes, is staying the same, what I want you guys to be able to do is understand this, for one, is that you are not going to be putting on fat if your body weight is staying the same, your body composition is looking the same. What that means is, if anything, you might be dropping body fat, adding muscle slowly, but let's just say in a realistic world, you're not putting on any fat, not putting on any muscle. So what I want you guys to do is now slowly increase those carbs the following week. With that increase of carbs, let's say you go up the following week about, again, 300 grams, or let's say it's 0.67 pounds. That is a very, very good sign. This being a good sign, what I mean by that is, again, we already know, and I've already told you guys, 300 grams to, let's say, 0.67 is a very realistic number when you increase your calories to be putting on pure muscle. So now let's say the following week, we decide to increase the carbs once again, and now we put on about 500 grams, or 1.1 pounds. So again, this is a very realistic number for us to be putting on pure muscle. Now again, we may be spilling over a little bit, right, by adding a little bit of body fat, but the percentage of it being fat to muscle here, guys, is very higher on the muscle gain. So again, this is very, very good progression and numbers to be kind of targeting when we're increasing food or carbs for that matter. Because again, guys, like I told you, we're training hard, we're depleting the muscle, we're eating correctly, and we're not, overindulging. We're just slightly increasing the food little by little. This is, again, like I said, just very, very ideal numbers to be increasing. But now let's say the following week, after our 300 and our 500 grams that we've gained, or let's say, like I said, 0.67 or 1.1 those first 2 weeks, the following week you increase it again, but now we gain on the scale about 1 kilogram or 2.2 pounds. It's a good result, but it's also a bad result. Let me explain. The reason I say this, guys, is because it's highly likely that, yes, you did put on some muscle, yes, but at the same notion, you very likely put on some body fat this particular time. Considering the numbers, this, again, is very generalized. There is no specific person that I'm speaking to, so again, each one of you guys may be different, but just a rule of thumb, it could be good and bad here. But end of the day, it is not the end of the world. This is something you can make up come cutting time, And again, if you're putting in the work and you're working hard, you can easily burn that off. Or what you also could do is simply just this next week, let's not add the carbs, let's let our body readjust to the intake, keep it the same as you just did, and you should be able to level back out. Now, hard work on the back end of this was, let's say in the cutting process, will definitely get that added fat you guys might have just put on or whatever the case may be. But just remember, the process, guys, is really quite simple. Just so you guys understand it and kind of wrap your head around it one more time. So you want your body to get used to a certain amount of food. As well, let your body weight stabilize at that amount of food, and we're gonna gradually increase the carbs at essentially a rate that our body can handle without putting on a ton of weight each particular week, guys. That's the simplest form as I can put it. But remember, guys, every one of us is completely different. So this is essentially the best way for y'all to do this process and to minimize the fat gain while building muscle. Now, I did say I was going to teach you guys on how to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. And again, this makes perfectly good sense when you think about it logically. Now put logic, common sense, and discipline all together, and you can't go wrong. I mean, it really is all that simple, guys. We break down our muscles as much as we can during our actual training session, guys, in the gym. Afterwards, we're gonna eat and eat and eat till we can fill up our muscles as much as we can, which is gonna help us maximize our muscle growth. If you are only filling them up halfway, you are only getting half of the results, you're only getting half of the recovery, and you're only gonna get half of your guys' growth. You always want your muscles full and replenished. So after we eat, our muscles fill back up, but this time we have eaten a little too much, let's say, not on purpose, just because we don't know how much we can eat, but again, rather than we are just going off of the scale and what the weight tells us on a week-to-week basis. So now we've ate too much, our muscles cannot absorb any more of our food, and they are completely full, and yes, we have now spilt over, which in return means that we are now gonna be storing fat. One of the ways we can get rid of this spillover or this now stored fat that we've created, guys, is to, yes, burn it off. And one of the activities that we can all add that I know y'all love, cardio. Yes, so this is where cardio comes into play, guys. Remember, guys, all of this food that we eat obviously contains a certain amount of calories. So when we are eating till our muscles are completely restored, which will maximize our recovery, therefore maximizing muscle growth, and we burn any spillover with our cardio, guys. So each day we break down our muscles, we eat to build them back up, bigger and stronger, and we completely replenish our glycogen within the muscle. And then last but not least, we can do anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour of cardio to ensure that we burnt off any spillover if the weight, again, if it's going up too high, guys. Your muscles are getting the nutrition from the food in which you have consumed, but our bodies are not getting the added calories from the food. Why? Because we've added in the cardio. Now let's rewind back to the week where you guys put on 1 kilogram or 2.2 pounds in that week from when you guys increased the carbohydrates a little too high, right? If, however, you were to have added in, let's say, 45 minutes of cardio each day for that entire week, you clearly, when adding in that extra cardio, would have not have put on that same kilogram or that 2.2 pounds. You would have more than likely put on roughly, 50 kilograms or 1.1 pounds due to the added cardio. Therefore, by adding in the cardio in this scenario, guys, you would know that in that particular week, anything you put on was purely muscle because, again, you utilize the cardio to burn over the spillage. Now, it is highly likely, guys, at this particular point, because you guys are training hard, you guys are getting your cardio done, not only are you just building muscle, but as you guys just found out, you guys should be as well burning fat. And regardless, guys, even if you are not actually dropping the body fat, just remember, when you're putting on just pure muscle, even if that means you're not actually dropping along with it, when you're building muscle, your skin is getting a little thinner, right? Because again, the muscle is being pushed out, so therefore the skin's getting thinner, tighter. You're gonna appear a whole lot leaner regardless in the process, guys. So again, don't forget, bigger, fuller, more muscle, but not adding on fat. Even if it's not burning the fat, that's still a win in my particular book. But like I said, guys, this is not something I typically recommend, because as you can understand and now take away from this video, it is extremely harder than just purely focusing on either building muscle and or burning fat. So when you guys are trying to do both at the same time, it's just a lot more hard work, but like I said, it can be done. I mean, seriously, who wants to be, doing 45 minutes of cardio on top of their, work life and adding in hours of cardio? On top of that, yes, you're gonna need to be putting down 6, 7, 8 meals a day to ensure that you are not only putting on muscle, but also not breaking down too much muscle because of the added workload, right? Now, I might be a loner when it comes to this particular topic, guys, but I actually do really enjoy this lifestyle. But to be honest, most people do not enjoy cardio. I always absolutely recommend to my particular clients, anybody that I work with, or just anybody in general, guys, getting lean before your off season. I say that because it makes a huge difference in your motivation and just your enjoyment in the process when you are trying to put on muscle. After you guys, by the way, have finished this video, I want you guys to take a look at my video gallery and take a look at a video that I have titled as How to Lose Fat Through Dieting Correctly. I will take you guys through the process of how to get lean while maintaining the muscle that we have as well. Like I said earlier, guys, if you guys are going into your off season or a place where you guys are trying to put on muscle and you guys are starting at a very high fat starting point, so a high fat percentage, it's very likely that not only are you going to be putting on an additional fat, you're probably not going to like the way you're looking in the process. Therefore, your confidence and your mentality essentially goes a little bit down. Therefore, the process is not going to be enjoyable. So what I always suggest for you to be a little bit leaner before you start that process, because again, otherwise you're just simply going to stop the gains mode or the building muscle and you're going to want to cut. So what's really going to happen is you're going to continue to go through this yo-yo dieting rather than really committing to one way or the other. And that's why, again, I will always recommend to you guys focusing on either building muscle or burning fat first before you kind of try to do both at the same time. So no matter what position you guys are in, when referring to your guys' training, I would always recommend, dropping the body fat first rather than worrying about building the muscle. Because again, the leaner you are, you kind of get down to your bare bones or your lean muscle, very little body fat. You can see your weak points. You can understand where you want to focus on when you go into a building season when trying to build on lean muscle. But again, you have a purpose, you have a reason as to why you're training this versus putting more focus into that. Always a better process. Lean first before we go ahead and try to put on the muscle. So now, again, if you guys have gotten lean, you guys have essentially earned the right to have a proper off season. Now you have the ability to commit to about 16 weeks to train hard, really push yourself, break down the muscle, and put it to a point to where you're literally in pain and you feel like you're on fire. So again, train like an animal, destroy your muscles, and do everything I've already talked about early in this video when it comes to your diet, training, and then your cardio. Each week, just make sure you guys are watching the scale. Again, the rule of thumb, anywhere from 300 grams to about 800 grams, or in pounds, we're talking about 0.67 to about 1.75. Again, if those are the numbers we're targeting and you guys are training hard, building muscle, you're going to be doing this the right way. So you're putting on muscle, maybe not necessarily build or losing fat, but you're at least putting on clean quality muscle in this process with those, rule of thumb for numbers, guys, because it's not an exact science, but again, that's just a ballpark number for you guys to really do this properly. I promise you guys, if you were to focus all your energy for the first 16 weeks on just trying to drop body fat, guys, essentially get as lean as you guys can, and then focusing the next 16 weeks on trying to just build lean muscle now that you guys are at a very low percent body fat, you guys will get so much more out of that versus, again, 16 weeks cut, 16-week bulk, rather than trying to do what everybody wants to do, which is build muscle and drop body fat at the same time. Promise you, do it the first way. 16 and 16, much better results rather than trying to combine the two. With that being said, guys, you gotta understand, people in the gym that you guys see are commonly doing this mistake. So they're trying to do too many things at once. And they're probably the ones you see every single year look exactly the same, sometimes even worse. Why is that? Because they clearly just do not have a set goal. It's not to lose body fat or it's not to build muscle. It's really, I want to do both at the same time. Well, who does it? But again, that process is extremely hard. And if you don't have it down to a science or down to a T for your body type, you're just going to do the yo-yo effect and you're not going to get the results. So I promise you guys, you can make it happen, but I will always tell you, either focus on cutting or focus on building first before we're going to dive into doing both at the same time. But again, I would always recommend get as lean as possible first before trying to build, because it will make the building process a whole lot more fun and a whole lot more easier in the process. Now that you guys have my take on what it means to, build muscle while dropping body fat at the same time, again, it's not that it's not possible, it's just not always realistic, because it's just extremely hard to do it, guys. You have to nail that down to a science. So there's a reason why I stay pretty damn lean year round, and that's because if I ever put on muscle, or if I want to focus on that area, I do it at a place that's a very lean body fat percentage. So I stay pretty lean year round, and that's because I understand the philosophy between when I'm going to build, I'm going to make sure that I'm under what's considered 10% body fat, or for the ladies that might be around 18 to 20% body fat. That's a relatively lean percentage for the ladies when you're going to go ahead and build anyways. But again, like I said, I always recommend for you guys to do one or the other. So when I go into a show or to a photo shoot, I'm already at a lean place as it is. So when I go to cut, it's a very minimal changes I may or may not have to make. So with that being said, when I go into a building, it could be just simply maybe dropping the cardio a little bit, and or in the process just slowly, like I said, increasing the carbs, guys. Hopefully, guys, this video has excited you to know that yes, you guys literally have the rest of your guys' life to improve your physique, and it's a never-ending journey. I mean, I'm at a certain place, but it's never ending. I'm always looking to improve. Now you guys are here because you guys are looking to improve. So again, utilize these tools, and once you guys start seeing results, I promise you, you will be hooked, and you guys are going to start enjoying this process on a day-to-day basis, and you guys can thank me later. But on all honesty, you guys are doing the work. I'm just here to guide you guys. So again, thank you guys for listening, and I will see you guys in the next video.